Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. Actually today, the proof is going to be in the listening. And here's why. I have had a ton of requests from you guys asking me, Ken, what kind of headphones do you use? And why? Now, I could blow you off and pacify you with a 2 or 3 sentence answer and just say, oh man, get these things because they're cool. But I don't think that'd be responsible on my part. And I always give you guys the goods and I give you my lifetime of experience. Now, I'm different than other people that might give you an answer that don't have the same experience. But as you guys know, I have over 40 records out and I've had the opportunity to work with some of the world's greatest mix engineers and work in some of the greatest studios throughout the world. So I've had a lot of different listening environments for headphones. And so I make my headphone choices very, very specific. And I'm going to explain this. But I want to break this up into 2 categories. I want to break this up into a music category and a singing category because I know I have a lot of music friends and instrumentalists out there and I have a lot of singing friends. So now there are going to be some crossovers, so bear with me and stick with me. There might be some technical aspects to this, but it will be well worth your ride, I promise. So hang in there. The first thing I think we should do is say, what do you want in a headphone? Like, what do you like about your headphones? Well, I want them to sound good. Well, everybody wants everything to sound good. What does that mean, right? The frequency response of this and all that. You can get into a lot of technical jargon. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to touch on some key specific points about the technicality about different frequencies in headphones, how they relate, how they respond as they're on your head, open back headphones versus closed back headphones. So stay with me for a minute. But before we go to all of that, I'm going to tell you what I've been using that are awesome. And I mean awesome. These are the new NDH 20s by Neumann. And I'm going to discuss why these are so cool. Now you see me wear a lot of different headphones, but I'm going to go through this and this is going to be key for you guys. So hang in there, man. It's going to rock. So the first thing I want to talk about is music. What makes a headphone great? Like, what do we love about them? Well, the frequency response, that they sound good. Now, if you buy a cheap pair of headphones, usually you either get one of 2 things. You get a company that's trying to hype out the frequency of the headphone. So what they'll do is they'll make them nice and bright so they kind of sound clear, but it's deceiving because the brightness is just that. They're just giving you a lot of extra high end, making you think, oh, these sound so much more clear than if I put on another pair of headphones. So let's say you're in a shooting match and let's say you're at the NAMM show and you're walking down all these booths and you get to put on a bunch of different pair of headphones, right? You're going to put on one pair and there's going to be a lot of noise in the room and a lot of distraction. You're going to put on a pair of headphones. You're going to go, oh wow, these are cool. They're nice and bright. And you think they're clear just because they added high end. Or let's say you're a bass player or a drummer and you're going to go, ooh, the low end on these ones rock, man, that's cool, right? You're going to go through all these emotions and you're going to listen to all these different things. You're going to say, wow, I like this for this reason. But really what we really want is a true response, a pair of headphones that end to end are going to be even in their sound. We don't want to put a pair of headphones on, have them be nice and bassy and tubby and so thick in the low end that it just notches out or screws with the mid-range, or so much high end in a pair of headphones where they're so bright and harsh after a while your ears start to fatigue and you just can't handle it. And this is really true for how loud you like your monitoring source. So if you turn it up loud in your headphones, you're going, oh wow, after 20 minutes of listening to these things, I've blown my ears out because they're so bright and harsh, or they're so harsh in the upper mid-range that they're unlistenable after a while. Now, so that would be frequency response. It'd be how even they are in their frequencies and how they respond to volume. Now, I can't go into all the details of the differences between open back and closed back headphones, but I do want to say this. Open back notoriously have been easier on the head as far as fatigue and putting a pair of headphones on that are gentle on your head because of the way they seat around the ears. Okay, now this is really important because now you're talking about long listening environments. You're not going to wear these things for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever that is. Do they feel like a pair of vice grips on your head after a while? You're like, oh, I just gotta take these things off and like rub my ears, massage my ears, so I don't feel like my head is going to explode from wearing these headphones for a long period of time. So open back headphones have notoriously been easier on the vice grip effect on your head over time. Now that's changed a lot over the years, and these bad boys ergonomically are awesome on the head. I'm going to get into that in a minute, but it's not just that. We're going to talk about how the frequency cancellation, canceling out noise, and other things that play a big role in this. So So let's stay with the open back thing for a second. So notoriously, open back headphones have been easier on the ears, but you can't use them when you're using a microphone, a live mic like this, because there's so much bleed from the headphones that if you're only listening them for the purpose of, let's say you're a musician, you're in the room recording loud guitar, you got an SM57 on the cone of a Marshall 412 cabinet, and you're just, it's so loud over there that it could never pick up the frequencies from the headphones. That's one thing. But what you're gonna find is that you really want to consider and gravitate towards closed backs because you can use them in any listening environment imaginable. Now, when I say listening environment, this is also really important because, like I said, I've worked at Ocean Way, I've worked at the Village, I've worked at Conway, I've worked at the world's greatest studios, and what you're gonna find is that every listening environment is different, and the reason for the headphones could be entirely different as well. You might be a bass player, you might be a drummer, you might be a singer, you might be a piano player. So there's lots of different applications for the headphones. And I'm gonna get into that too. I'm on the music side and I'm gonna get into the singing side. So guys, again, I am giving you for free lifetime of experience. I'm not your Joe Blow YouTuber guy that, oh man, I got my earbuds, my ear candies, man, they rock, you should go check them out. I'm telling you straight up, you asked me the question, what headphones do I use and why? So I'm gonna break this down for you. So I've moved away from open backs, okay, or even partially open backs, because I can't really use them in any environment that's got a live microphone. So that has left me to say, okay, what other kind of headphones are out there? Well, there's a lot, and there's some cool ones, but I'm gonna explain why these are really, really cool, okay? Now, within headphones, people like to monitor at different volumes, okay? Now, when you monitor at different volumes, headphones, frequencies inside the headphones respond differently, okay? So if you have a really hypey in the upper mid-range or in the upper high-end pair of headphones and you turn them up, your ears fatigue really quickly, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is, now I'm gonna move away from open backs and I'm gonna go into closed backs. When you have closed back headphones, you can control the frequency a lot better in your listening environment. Now your listening environment is really small, right? Now, before I go on too far, I wanna say something that's really cool about these, right? When you have a really great pair of headphones like this, believe it or not, these are so good, you don't have to go out and buy expensive near-field monitors. These can substitute for near-field monitors. In fact, how much more near can you get? But no, seriously, I'm not kidding. They sound that good. The frequency response is so even end to end, even when you crank them up or turn them down, that they're so crystal clear and even, and they're not hyped out. And I want to get into some mid-range funk in a minute, because a lot of headphones have a lot of hypey mid-range, especially with closed backs, and can fatigue the ears very, very quickly and become very harsh and brittle. Now, when I say mid-range, I'm not going to get too technical on you, but I want to discuss what that means. Now, every headphone is different, but usually at the frequencies, somewhere around 450 cycles, it's kind of low frequency, up to around 2K, 3K, closed back headphones, as you crank them up or wear them for long periods of time, that it actually kind of doubles and it overlaps this frequencies back and forth inside the headphones themselves. As you crank them up, they become more and more harsh, and the high end goes away and the low end goes away, and you're stuck with this, piling on of mid frequencies within the headphones themselves. So that's been a big issue for closed back headphones. Guess what, folks? ND20, they don't do that. Straight up, try it. Go somewhere, go to a local music store, put these on and go get a cheaper pair of headphones or another brand even of the same caliber. Put them on at different frequencies, crank them up, and see how even these are end to end. Now, I'm gonna break these bad boys out and I wanna show you something. I'm gonna get into the singing part in a minute, but I wanna finish the music part. They're ergonomically amazing. So instead of that vice grip effect that's on your head, they are so comfortable. You could wear these suckers for hours and they don't fatigue on your head, which I'm telling you guys is a big deal after a while, because after a while you got to take a break and you're like, I just got to take a break. I can't. You don't have to do that with these. That is awesome. The other thing too is the cancellation, the noise cancellation that's another thing that has happened. So the dilemma for closed backs has been, well, we want them to be tight enough on the head and tight enough around the ears where it cancels out sound in the room, right? Or there's not bleed from the headphones into a microphone. But in order to do that, they have to have a lot of pressure that builds in the head. So what you need is you need that pressure to cancel out room noise or other noise or ambient noise, or not have noise from the headphones go to a microphone without the pressure mounting on the head. These rock. So there's that, okay? Now, I'm gonna finish up the music part and I wanna get into the singing part. When you have different pairs of headphones, and depending on the headphones you have and how loud you like your listening environment, I like my listening environment pretty loud. Now let me explain this. If you're a drummer and you're recording as a drummer, or if you're a bass player or a guitar player, everyone kind of likes to hear what they like to hear a little differently. So let's just take a drummer for example, okay? Now the snare drum, and I'm not gonna get too technical, but stay with me guys, come on, stay with me. A snare drum, its frequency response can be somewhere around that 350, 400 range, 400 cycle range, usually up to around the 2K, 3K range. Precisely about where you sing, precisely about where a guitar player plays. Now bass is different. Bass usually resonates quite a bit lower. Bass can go from 800, 900 cycles, somewhere in there, usually depending on how bright your bass is, all the way down to 50 hertz. I mean, really low. You can't really hear 50 that great, but you can if you know what you're doing. So, or know what you're listening for. So not only can these accommodate that, but they accommodate it evenly. Let me say that again. Not only can they handle the load, but they can handle that load evenly. So you can have crystal clear bass if you're a bass player and hear your bass parts crystal clear, or if you're a guitar player or a drummer and you want to hear the snare or the hi-hat or things that are competing for the same frequency, the range is so crystal clear without the hype of cranking up a bunch of high end in your ear to fatigue your ears. So that's a big deal. Now, I'm gonna move on to the singing part, and this is another really important component. For you singers out there, I like my vocals blisteringly loud. Now, I don't mean ear bleed loud, but I mean, I like my mix to have enough groove, kick and snare, maybe a hi-hat or a click or something, where that's fairly loud, and then a wallpaper, just a backdrop of sound for pitch, but I want the groove to be there and I want my vocals blisteringly loud. And here's what I mean by that. And by the way, as you guys know, I have a lot of range. I sing in 4 octaves, so I sing really low and really high. So I need something that can handle all that different range and all that different frequency. Very, very, very important. But as much as all of that, I can't have something so thick and so muffly, so thick and muddy and muffly that I can't hear through the mix. I can't hear clarity, and I can't hear clarity at different frequency responses. So you guys ask me the question, what headphones do you use and why? I'm explaining it, so just shut up and listen. This is really important. So when I sing, I can't tell you how frustrating it is to have a pair of headphones on, listening kind of loud, and you just can't hear yourself. How many times have you put on a pair of headphones, you go, I can't hear myself. I can't hear myself through the mix. I can't separate out my voice from X, right? Not anymore, guys. Not anymore, dudes. Telling you, and dudettes, NDH 20s, telling you straight up, put them on, try it. Put your, and again, it just depends on a mic you're using in preamp and how bright your actual source is that you're listening to. So I'm not gonna say, if you're only recording 10K of vocals and it's all bright and high-endy, that's not gonna fix that. But if you have a good mic, a good preamp like this, of course my Neumann, and you already have a good starting point, right, for your source to get to your headphones, these are crystal clear. Now, they're not just crystal clear in the frequencies themselves, but they don't fatigue your ears when you lean into a microphone and they get louder. Now, let me explain how this works, okay? This is crazy stuff, but this is taking this up a notch for you singers out there. So come along with me right now. When we sing, or actually, when any volume goes to the head, the more we turn up the volume, the more pressure mounts in the head. It's natural. It's a Doppler effect. I want you to try and experiment for me, okay? I want you to have music playing in the room, the same source music in the room, and I want you to have that source music, the same source music in your headphones. Please try this experiment. This will settle it for you. Straight up, it will settle, it'll cinch the deal for you guys. Have a good monitoring system playing in the room. Put on the headphones and listen. Hopefully your monitoring system is worthy and it sounds good. And listen to how natural the headphones themselves are when you put them on your head and then you take them off. So put them on for like 5-10 seconds and have the volume kind of decently loud, a fairly decent volume in the room, and then put these on decent volume in the head and then take them on and off, and go back and forth and listen to how natural and how even the frequency response is from your listening source here in the room and the listening source here. That's one thing. But the other thing is when you crank the headphones up, are there any frequencies that stick out, they become annoying or obnoxious? Very, very important. In some headphones, they become so thick and tubby because they're hypey in the low end that's so thick you can't hear through them. Oh, you're right? Or if they're really hypey in the mid-range, they're so bright and obnoxious, they fatigue the ears so quickly, you can't hear the frequency response. Now, for you singers out there, this is why this is important, is because we sing usually at about 500 cycles to about 2,000 cycles, depending on the range that we're singing in. That happens to be the build-up range of most closed-back headphones that fatigue the ears. So if you've been singing, you're behind the booth for an hour, and you're going, gosh, I don't know why, but you're asking the engineer, are you sure you didn't touch anything? Are you sure you didn't turn my vocal down? Are you sure you didn't turn the music up? Straight up, you guys, am I right? Am I right? Every time you put on the headphones, are you sure my vocal, or can you turn me up just a little bit more, just a little bit more? Now, some of that could be a direct byproduct of osmosis, of just listening loud and your ears fatiguing. That's true. That can happen. But that's not really the majority of what's happening. What's happening is the buildup of this mid-range frequency in the head, and then all of a sudden, as you're listening, and you're turning it up and you want to feel it in the room, so you want it nice and loud because you want to groove and you want the energy. As you turn it up, it starts to notch away in your ears the very frequency that you're trying to sing you can't hear. So what do? You have the engineer turn it up louder and louder. It fatigues more and more and more, and you get diminishing returns. That is what makes these so freaking cool. Okay, now I'm not saying, again, that there aren't cool headphones out there, but you asked me my opinion. NDH 20 Neumanns, these things rock. Now I want to leave with one more important point, and then I'm going to wrap this up. That is that when we sing in different ranges, the higher up we go, right, the more, this frequency is going to grade on our ears. So the higher up we scream, or the higher up we sing, or whatever. So it's important also to have a very smooth roll-off and a very smooth ringing frequency response in the upper register. And without that, it becomes very difficult to hear when you're singing in different ranges. So if you've noticed, for you singers out there, you got headphones on and you're going, my pitch royally sucks right now. For some reason, I can scream and sing high and kind of get in pitch in the upper register, but or I'm flat as heck. I'm singing up because I can't hear myself, one or the other, right? And then when I get in lower registers, I just can't hear myself. Well, some of it could be volume, absolutely. Or some of it could be thickness in the headphones that are not delivering the clarity of that frequency response that you need to stay in pitch as a singer. Okay, hopefully this information was helpful, you guys. I'm telling you, this is a lifetime of information coming your way, and I don't know of anybody that has had more listening environments and has tried on more pair of headphones. And as a musician, I'm a guitar player first, singer second. Though you guys all know me as a singer, guitar was my first instrument. I have tried this in a lot of listening environments with a lot of different musicians, and closed back NDH 20 Neumanns rock. All right, gang, until next time, God bless you all. Peace out.